Good evening, good evening, good evening. Oh, the sound kicked in just as I was starting. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Collaboration Culture Podcast, which is also in collaboration with the Praying CEO. So it will be the Praying CEO podcast as we spotlight women who are trailblazers, leaders for Women's History Month. It's been an amazing month. Being able to talk to all of these wonderful women, members of the Praying CEO, who have said that they were going to put God first in their business, and they're out here making a major difference in the lives of so many others. And so I want to go ahead and dive in. For those of you who are here and watching, go ahead and say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. Are you in Raleigh? Are you in another state? Where are you watching from? If you like to shout out your business, please feel free because this is a business platform. But as I mentioned, we put God first at the helm of our business. My name is Kimberly Winborn. I am the founder of the Praying CEO, also founder of Coffee and Collaborations Media. So it's a delight to sort of merge the two together this month to highlight women. I told them everywhere that I could share you, I'm going to share through all my platforms so you can get the spotlight. My company is Kimberly Winborn LLC. My nonprofit company is Beauty 180 Incorporated. And the Praying CEO Ministry is the ministry component of that. So, just a little bit of background. Want to go ahead and, oh, Pastor Darlene is our guest, and she's saying good evening. Y'all, let me tell you a little bit about our guest for the evening. No guest to me and to many others, Pastor Darlene Thorne, your caregivers co-mentor. She helps caregivers make themselves the priority by teaching them how to practice intentional, good self-care so they may better serve those they are called to serve. And so we are delighted to have her this evening. So if you're watching, go ahead and share out the broadcast to your networks. This is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person to spotlight. You'll want to hear everything about her and the things that she has to say, especially for those of you who are caregivers, who are going through that transition in your life or have been in that space for a while and you need that community, you need that support, you need that wisdom, right, to help you through. So, without further ado, Pastor Darlene Thorne.
Good
Good
evening.
evening. I love that you have your praying CEO background. Yay! That's the beauty of
Yes.
having a StreamYard expert.
Yes, I asked if I could share on my page, and you said, "Well, if you got a minute, if you can do this." I'm like, "This is easy, easy peasy,
Yes,
lemon squeezy." So we are on my platform as well, on my Facebook
awesome.
page, so that everybody will get an opportunity to know what's happening in the Praying CEO. This
Awesome.
and coffee and collaborations. There's so many things that God has blessed you to do, and I count it a
Mm.
privilege to be able to serve alongside with you in the praying CEO space.
Yeah, it's been a blessing. It really has. But we are here to talk about you this evening, to spotlight you. You have so much to offer. And one of the first questions, Pastor Darlene, after I tell everybody that you have been a mentor to me, especially with the
Mhm.
Praying CEO, now you're a mentor to many in the space of caregivers, but you call yourself the co-mentor. And I would love for you to break that down because I can assume exactly what that means and I know what it means to me.
Mhm.
But if you could share, why do you call yourself a co-mentor for caregivers?
Absolutely. Well, that is the coach and mentor space. That there are times that I'm your coach, and the coach is the one that stands on the sidelines and says, "Stay in the game. Yeah, remember the play I told you. Remember what I gave you as instruction, as information." And then as the mentor, I come alongside to tell you, yes, I've been there, done that. And these are the things I've learned. These are the lessons I've learned. And I want to pass this along to you so that you don't have to run into the pitfalls that I ran into. So that is the combination that sometimes I am your coach. And then there's other times that I am your mentor. And I believe that it's important that we know that, that we're
Yeah.
encouraging others that, sometimes I put on another hat to make sure that
Yeah.
you're able to do what you need to do and do it well. Do it well.
Yeah. Yeah. So can you tell us your journey to that space, to the caregivers co-mentor? Because I've known several hats that you wear. Of course, pastor. Your role as a wife is even a ministry, and you've been a mentor in other spaces. I will never forget the rest and rebuild and reset. With rest, refill, renew. I'll never
Mhm.
forget that. So you've been a mentor in several spaces. So how did it get to the caregiver? Can you share that with us?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was November 15th in 2019 when I was getting ready to go get my hair done, because we women got to take care of the our coif. And I was going to get my hair done, and I'm getting ready to say goodbye to Kevin, to my husband. I was calling his name. I was saying, "Honey, I'm getting ready to go to get my hair done," and he would not answer. He didn't answer. And I saw his sneakers. They were in the living room. They were on the floor, so I knew he hadn't left yet. So he was somewhere in the house. And I found him in the bathroom, and he was sitting almost unresponsive. And at that moment, first I had to catch my breath and get my wits about me. And I asked him to tell me his name, and he could breathily tell me his name. So I ended up calling the ambulance, EMT, the fire trucks, the police. They were all there. And within minutes, when they took his blood pressure was through the roof. So they took him to the hospital. And by the time I got to the hospital, I came into the emergency room, and I had a guide, a spiritual guide, come and talk to me. And they say the doctor will be right with you. And the doctor came in and said that your husband needs to have emergency surgery because we did a CAT scan and we see that he has had a brain bleed. And they immediately had to have surgery. And at that point, I became his caregiver.
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
no idea what was going to happen from then. I became his advocate because he wasn't
Hmm.
talking at the time. I had to speak for him, I had to think for him, and I had to make sure that he was getting the proper care. And out of that, what I found myself doing was I was documenting it on my phone, going live, and just sharing with those who would listen of my
Hmm.
journey, how I was navigating through these waters. And people were asking me, "How are you doing this? You seem to be so free. How are you doing it with such joy and such grace?" And I knew it was because of some things that I experienced as I was growing up and things that God prepared me for. And He
Hmm.
prepared me for this. So
Yeah.
it has been a journey and a half since 2019. And I tell you what, my husband, he is a literally he is a world traveler. We have traveled more in these past couple of years than I think in a long time of our marriage,
Yeah.
because God has been so faithful.
It's such a beautiful story. I remember being there for the journey, when the accident happened or when the scenario happened, and you being at the hospital all of the time. And, us checking in to see how you were doing. Did you need anything? Even Pastor Jocelyn going to the hospital and others, and we say Pastor Kevin is like, a member of the praying CEO because he is always with you, always there, always
Mhm.
in the pictures. He's gonna make sure he's in the picture, always
Please.
laughing. So, And I think, many people don't really realize that, that it's possible to happen, that the person you love, that you say, for better or for worse, richer or for poorer, sickness and in health, that part could actually happen, the sickness and in health. But
Right.
when it does, what will they actually do? And I know
Correct.
many people have, really been able to say, I can, because of you.
Wow.
I can be a good spouse in this situation, or what have you, because of you. What is some of the feedback you've received? Like, what does that mean to you, to know that you're shining a light for many people to know that they can also do the same?
Oh man, let me tell you, I think the one of the biggest compliments that I could get was from my coach and mentor, your coach and mentor,
Yeah.
Dr. Sandra Wall Williams.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness. It was um, a day that we were in the same space. It was around my birthday time, I believe. And she said to me, "Thank you so much for what you do. You have," and she said, "You have no idea how many people are able to go on because of your testimony. You have no idea how many lives you have impacted." And even then, I was like, well, it floored me to hear that from Dr. Sandra. And then just recently, I heard from a woman who was a part of the anthology that I was a visionary for. We asked them to tell their story of how they got connected with me and how they said yes to the book. And this
Yeah.
woman, Dr. Arlinda Ellison,
Hmm.
she says to me, she said, well, she says on the broadcast, yes, I've been following you for many years through Vision Building Women with Dr. Sandra.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
I
had
love
no
it.
idea that
Yeah.
there are people that are watching and they're looking and they're learning and they are being able to hold on. And
Yeah.
I had no clue that
Yeah.
what I'm doing, just being who I am was
Hmm.
touching so many lives. It
Yeah. It
just,
is. It really is, because I'm now a caregiver, of my mother post cancer, and some of the other things that occurred, and it's been encouraging for me,
mm,
to have patience and be understanding, but then even know that there's a resource of somebody who is doing this every day in a new way, really starting over to a certain degree when it
oh
comes
yeah,
to taking care of your spouse, taking care of that person that you've dedicated your life to. And I'm gonna tell you, when I first saw CoMentor, I know you're a coach, I know you're a mentor, but the first time, I don't think I ever told you this, the first time I ever saw that term, I literally thought of the fact that you come alongside others. And so while we are doing the work ourselves to
mm,
maneuver through these spaces, we can be strong. I thought of like the mentors, the people
yes,
who, like myself, who people are looking to. But
hmm,
we all need somebody to come alongside even us and partner with us
wow,
to help us to kind of, I guess, muddle or figure things out and get through this new experience. So
oh
that's what
wow, wow,
yeah.
amazing. And you know what's interesting, Kim? I just do what I do. And
Hmm.
there's sometimes that I took for granted. Doesn't everybody,
Yeah.
fill in the blank? But what I found is
Yeah.
that some women, and this is what I've seen, that some of the women have actually divorced their spouses when their spouses got sick because they said,
Yeah.
I can't handle this. I don't know what to do. So instead of going to a place to get help, they just walk away.
Yeah.
And I've actually seen it. And it my heart just broke for that spouse who now has to figure out how to continue on,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the wife walked away, literally said, I can't do
Mm-hmm.
this, and they left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How
Yeah.
did my
Yeah. I can
mind?
imagine. Yeah, and nobody can walk in their shoes, but then to be in yours and have experienced it, I'm
Mhm,
sure there are women out there who will be in this same space and
mhm,
maybe are in it right now who will look at you as an example. You're just gonna pop up on their timeline or something, and they're
mhm.
going to say, I can do this because I have an example. Sometimes we need to see that example in order to believe. And that's one of the things I love about you, that you are committed. You love deeply your
Mhm.
family, especially your
Yeah.
friends, and you give so selflessly. And that is something that is just a treasure, which is why I wanted to spotlight people like you. And so now
Wow.
you have this anthology of other caregivers. And I remember seeing the post when you put that out there, and so how excited are you about the fact that now other people are able to also share their story and be an encouragement because of your vision and your yes?
Oh my goodness. Let me tell you, there's a story behind that, Kim. Um, I was not going to do it. I had,
Mhm,
I want to say a couple of years before, it had been spoken to me, do this.
mhm,
And I ran. And I literally, I ran. And the reason that I did is because I was not confident in me.
mhm,
And I said, who's going to want to write with me? Who's going to want to partner with me and be a part of this anthology? So I literally suppressed it. But I was sitting and talking with one of the coaches, and I was saying, one of my coaches, and I was telling them what I wanted to do. And they said immediately, this is
mhm,
what I need you to do, and I need you to do it in the next 90 minutes. And they
mhm,
gave me the script. They said, do it right now. And when I did it, Kim, there were about 12, 13, 15, 25 people that were
mhm.
responding, just responding. And I was, oh, people are interested. And then as I began to
Mhm.
speak with them and they started sharing their stories, I realized that their stories were no longer supposed to be just in their own heads, but they were supposed
Mhm.
to be able to share them with the world. And so God blessed me with 5 other women who have different stories to tell about their caregiving journey. And it is
Yeah,
absolutely amazing. And I've already been told that that there's another volume that's going to come out,
has to
because
be.
because there's more to the story than this. So, but right now with this particular book, we have people that were caring for their mothers, they were caring for their parents, and then there were others who were caring for ones that they weren't related to, but it
Mhm.
was a God connection, and that's why they were chosen for this
Mhm.
particular assignment. Each and every one of us is chosen for
Yeah,
whatever it is that we do now. We've
yeah.
been chosen, and it's up
And
to us
you,
to decide to accept it, you
yeah.
know?
It grows you. I mean, being a caregiver really grows you. It changes your priorities.
Mhm.
Your focus is a lot clearer. I really feel like it's absolutely life changing, but not in a negative way, in the way that most people would think, but in a very positive way. And so one of the things that I want to ask you is actually two questions.
Mhm.
One question is about the caregiver herself or himself. Who takes care of the caregiver? I know that's something that you really promote, self care,
Mhm.
rest, and all of that. So how are you helping people to understand how to still within that assignment take care of themselves?
Well, as I mentioned, we've been talking, and you've heard me
Mhm,
say my coach, my mentor, my coach.
mhm.
Every coach, every mentor needs to have a coach and a mentor
Yeah.
because and we also need a therapist.
Mhm.
Now, for a long time, at least in our community, we
Mhm.
downplayed going to therapy. We downplayed the notion of having therapists. But I believe that it is so important that we have that space because there are things we don't understand about our minds, about our bodies, about how we function and flow. And we have
Mhm.
to make sure that we're doing that, understanding how our bodies really function, that we
Yeah.
definitely need to have rest. I had not known about it before until I got into the caregiving space that they talk about compassion fatigue, that we can get tired from caring for that spouse so much that
Mhm.
we don't look to ourselves. So I had to learn how to do it because it's more than only it's inclusive of going to get your nails done or your hair done
Mhm.
or getting a pedicure. I mean, that's inclusive, but there are
Mhm.
times of just laying down and resting,
Yeah.
making sure that you're going to take care of your doctor appointments just like you take the one you're caring for to their appointments, and don't cancel your appointments just
Mhm.
because something comes up. And
Yeah.
making yourself the priority is so critically important. Just like they tell us to put our mask on when we're on the airplane before taking care of someone else, that thing holds true with us in the caregiving space. That if
Yeah.
we don't take care of us, then we will not be in position to take care of anyone else. And
Absolutely.
so those things are critical. That is
Mhm.
critical. That
Yeah.
you've got to look in the mirror because, see, this is the person that you see every day.
Mhm.
And if you're not putting them first, making making yourself priority to God. Because, see,
Mhm.
this is the thing. What we're doing is an assignment from heaven.
Right. Yeah.
It's an assignment from
Yeah.
heaven. And when you think about what Jesus did, it says in the Bible that he snuck away and
Mhm.
spent time with the Father.
Yes, he
So if
did.
so if he did it,
Who are
how
we
much
not
more
to?
us exactly.
Not to. And so with that being said, back to refresh, refill, renew. Like, where are you with that? What can we expect? And I know the caregiver's mentor is a big component, but they go hand in hand. So, what can
Mhm.
we expect from that space? I'll never forget NAP, necessary applied piece. I still did. I ever get a T-shirt? I don't know if I ever got a T-shirt, but
You got
I
you.
remember. I remember, plugging you to some people, but I don't know if I ever got a T-shirt. But yeah,
Well,
so
I
back to that. Where are we with that? Refresh, refill, renew, nap,
mhm.
all of
Absolutely. Well, we still have t-shirts available. So those of you
that.
who want to get a nap shirt, just let me know. Put in the comments and we'll chat. Um, but that is true. Necessary applied peace. When I coined that phrase, I meant that. It
Hmm.
is, and then it says take a nap. There are times that we have to literally lay our bodies down to be refreshed.
Hmm.
And sometimes we think, let me just do one more thing, just one more thing. Let me do just one more thing. And that one more thing can be to our detriment.
Hmm.
There's a study that says that we as mammals, we are the only species that refuses to listen to our bodies. In the animal kingdom, when their bodies say that they're tired, do you know they rest? immediately. They immediately rest. We are the only bodies that when we feel tired, when you know your eyes are feeling heavy and you feel like you need to take a rest and you're in the middle of doing something, you said, well, let me take 10 minutes to finish this.
Mm-hmm.
What happens is when you do not give in and lean into that, and people talk about having their second wind, and
Mm-hmm.
they feel like, oh, I can go on. I'm feeling good now. You're actually doing a disservice to your body. And what your body was supposed to do to be able to recalibrate itself, it doesn't get to happen. It has to go through a
Mm-hmm.
whole 90-minute cycle and come around again before you can get back to that space.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
that's
we're
why
doing
those things are
ourselves
important.
a we're doing ourselves a disservice. And I'm
Right.
gonna tell you the power of the pause really has changed my life. You know, that nap. I remember feeling guilty about needing a nap. But I thought about it because, as you get older, you feel guilty about so many different things all the time. Like, but anyway, I remember feeling guilty about needing a nap. And I remember though, so God reminded me when I was 18, 19, 20, 21 in college, I used to take my naps all the time. I used to get breaks. I used to rest. I used to try to reset before that next class, in between classes, all of that. And God reminded me of that. And that helped take away that guilt. I was like, well, if I did it at 18, 19, 20, I can do it
Mhm.
now and
Mhm.
forget it. And it's okay. It's a part of the reset cycle,
But
to
see, this
your
is the
point.
right. But see, this is the other thing. Remember when we were babies?
Mm-hmm.
We would go throughout the day and our parents would take us to bed and lay us
Yes.
down, whether we closed our eyes and went to sleep or not was
Mm-hmm.
irrelevant. They said you need your rest. What happens with babies is when they sleep, that's when they grow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the more they slept, the more they were able to grow and be healthy. For us, the more we sleep, the more our bodies get to realign themselves
Yeah.
and recalibrate when we take that rest. And
Yeah.
that's why refresh, refill, renew. We actually have this Saturday, we are having a
Mm-hmm.
summit and we're talking about prayer,
Mm-hmm.
and Pastor Angela is one of the speakers.
Okay.
Evangelist Viola Davis out of St.
Mm-hmm.
Louis, she's going to be speaking. Pastor Angela is going to be talking about prayer. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and Nurse Viola is going to talk about, she is a cardiac nurse. So she's going to be
Mm-hmm.
talking about the importance of your heart in regards to prayer. And so
Yeah.
she's going to give us a lot of the medical background because we need to understand how our bodies function. And
Yeah.
then I'm going to be talking about using the word of God in
Mm-hmm.
meditation and memorization to help you be refreshed. So we're going to be doing that on Saturday. And I'm really excited about that because this is all a part of our quarterly summits. We have a summit here in March, have another one in June, and then we have a live summit in September. Oh my goodness, that is going to be all of that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
so excited about that.
Yeah.
Yes, because
Awesome.
that's going to be
Well,
just
I think the best thing for people to do in order to make sure to stay abreast is to follow your website and the information scrolling across the screen, because it sounds like just a one good thing after another, after another, after another. And I know we have so many things to try to keep up with, but this is something that is going to help our productivity. And while we
yes,
can't make everything, maybe we can make one of those, quarterly events. Hopefully,
absolutely.
is the live one going to be local to Raleigh, North Carolina, or
It's going to be it'll be in the North Carolina area. It'll be in
okay?
North Carolina. And I was talking with my AP, and we were strategizing because there's something about getting rest. There's something about retreating and coming away and really being able to come
Mm-hmm.
back to you, because this is the thing. If we don't take the time to lay down, our bodies will lay us down.
Yeah, that's right. That immune system start
It'll
breaking down
it'll
and other things.
it'll lay us down and lay us out because we're
Yeah,
not doing what we need to do to take care of us. And
yeah,
that's I cannot stress enough. We
yeah.
have we've been assigned something from the Lord. And how are we
Hmm.
going to get it done if we're not strong, if we're not prepared, if we're
Yeah.
not doing what's needed, you know?
Hmm.
And
I
that's
think
why
about
this is so
all the
important.
I think about all the leaders who are burned out right now, like who burn out to the degree that they can't even really produce at the level in which they need to in order to lead well. And just really applying this necessary practice
Hmm.
of resting, of really getting that oxygen mask on yourself first in order to really produce well. It actually serves those who are following so much more than if you stretch yourself to the last, to the end, thinking that that's the best thing for those people, and in the end it really isn't. And I think that's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
That's a hard reality for many people, because I feel like we have to be the end all be all for folk, but it
Yeah.
is really taking care of ourselves that is that gift and blessing to others. And I love what Michelle said here. She said, I have always talked about getting a second win. I will take my
Mm.
naps. And that's what it's all about. So,
Hmm.
I want everybody to make sure to follow Pastor Darlene, go to her website, follow her social media pages. Is there anything else you'd like to say as we wrap up? I want to say this first. Like, she has been one of the first intercessors in the Praying CEO when we started praying during COVID every day. Pastor Darlene would be on there 2, 3, 4. It was just There was just a handful of us at first, and
That's
then now
right.
we got about 20 to 30. But she would be on there 2, 3 times a day, just praying, giving
Yes.
a message, a word from the
Hmm.
Lord. And so
Yeah.
I just want to thank you for how you have poured into me, and you have poured
Amen.
into so many of us in the Praying CEO. So, what is the final thing you would like to say for those who are watching?
Well, the final thing is this: be obedient to what God has given you to do. And
Mhm.
as we talk about caregivers, any business owner, if you are in the business that you work with people, you're a caregiver. So
Mhm.
I want you to recognize how important it is that some of the things that we have shared tonight apply to you as well. I'm a caregiver for my husband, and as Kim has stated, she is caring for with him for her mom. We all have that responsibility. The most important responsibility we have is to be obedient to God and taking care of the temple that He has given to us. We only have one, and we've got to take care of this one temple that we have. Our bodies are the temple of the Holy Spirit. And just as we wouldn't put in things that would do damage to our bodies, we want to make sure that we would give our bodies the rest and respite that it's needed so that we can function to our optimum. So I'm just thankful that I get to be with you, Kimberly. This has been an amazing time. Time flies so fast
It
when you're
really
having
does.
fun.
It really does. And I mean, you and I could talk for hours and hours and hours. So, but I did want to spotlight you. I think that you're amazing. I
Oh,
adore you. I love you. I trust you. I'm so thankful for the friendship, the sisterhood, the mentorship, and all that
man.
you do needs to consistently be elevated, be edified, be
Mhm.
highlighted and spotlighted, because you absolutely are making an impact in your local community, the national community, and even the global community, because I know you've been traveling
Yes.
internationally.
Oh my goodness, that's a whole nother subject.
I know. So, what opportunities, what yeses ahead of you that we can track, we can pray for you, and we can follow. So, love you. And
Love
for
you
those of
too.
you who are in the audience and you want to join us in prayer, you want to join Pastor Darlene one day, you want to join any of the other intercessors as we gather together. You know, they say that two or more are gathered then the Lord is in the midst, right? But then also a string cord, a 3 ring cord cannot be broken. And
That's right.
so that's what we provide in the praying CEO. But really, as long as there's one person, sometimes they're by themselves in the moment, but people will catch the replay
That's
and
right.
join in, and you are no longer alone at that moment. But please join us every day at 7:30 in the Praying CEO group on Facebook for prayer. Drop your prayer request. If you have one and you don't want to put it publicly in the group, then you can reach out to Pastor Darlene, myself, any of the other intercessors that you see, or even go to our website at theprayingceo.com, and in our resources and events, then there's an area where you can leave a prayer request. And so I'm so excited. Okay, congratulations, Pastor Darlene. That's from Rochester.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
Pastor, go ahead.
See, this woman, I love her already. I haven't met her in person, but let me tell you what God did. Because of the launch, she happened to see the launch, and
Mhm.
I've been connected in her community, and I'm so thankful. She is just a sweet woman of God. Haven't met her yet in person, and I'm looking forward to meeting her very soon. I just
Awesome.
wanted to give a shout out to Miss Dawn. I thank you for welcoming me into your community, and I'm super excited to see what things we may be able to do together.
Awesome. And so the launch that Pastor Darlene is speaking about is the virtual launch of the book. And so make sure you all get your copy whenever. Is it released right now, or is it like preliminary orders at this point?
Well, the ebook is released now, and I'm going to put that link in the chat here so that if they
Okay.
want to go ahead and get the ebook, the hard copy, the paperback copy is going to be available this week. I'm so excited. I believe
Yeah.
tomorrow is the day that we will be releasing that. So you'll be able to go and purchase your book, and if you would like to get a signed copy, you can reach out to me and we'll make sure that you can get a signed copy from me or any of the other authors. You can reach out to them. I'm just so grateful. Um, this has been like it was years in the making, and
Mhm.
even when we were going through to get it done, there were some bumps in the road, and I was thinking, oh no, no, no. But God said, I set you up for this. You're built for
Mhm.
this. Let's keep moving. And
Amen.
Kimberly, I know the same thing holds for you, holds true for you. The things that God has uh, downloaded to you, you're built for it. And I'm so thankful. And congratulations. I'm going to say it out loud. Congratulations to you and what you're doing as the EO over it at your new place. I'm just like, that just makes me so happy.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you to everybody who
Michelle,
joined. Yes, I haven't seen
my
her in a
sister.
few years. Yeah, I haven't seen her in a few
Yes.
years now. So it's so nice to see you on here. But yes, we are sisters. We are
Yes,
that
we are.
three-strand cord that is not easily broken. We are praying CEOs. We are even vision building women. And
Yes.
so I bless God for you. I want to thank you for joining this evening. For all who watched, be sure to come back here tomorrow where we will have another woman who we will spotlight for Women's History Month. I believe that's the last one for the month, and that's going to be Dr. Sandra Wall Williams, who is my mentor. And
My
Pastor Darlene
mentor.
mentioned that she is her mentor. So we will each Yeah,
Do we
we'll
share?
end with her.
I
So
guess we
join
share.
us
I
back
guess we'll
here.
share.
Okay.
I guess we'll
We have
share.
to share. We've been
We
sharing, so
can
let's not
share it.
stop. So come on back here,
Yeah.
7 o'clock tomorrow evening. You all have a great rest of your evening. Good
Good
night.
night.
This has been a Coffee and Collaborations Media production.